Absolutely. So up next, we jump right into our first match of the night, that being the United States Championship match. Alberto Del Rio going for the title against Sheamus.
I can definitely see where your one complaint was stemming from. I too, when this match started, I was like, I know Sheamus and Del Rio, at least in my opinion, have good chemistry, but man, I'd love to see a new opponent for one of the mid-card titles. Really put somebody in there that could give Sheamus a run for his money and really make the championship match, very combative. But you know
You
what?
know who I think would be absolutely perfect, that it obviously isn't going to happen because he's actually just starting a new program right now?
Who's that?
Rusev.
Yeah, you and I have been saying, dude, Rusev potentially unseating the U.S. champion, especially the caliber of Sheamus,
Yep.
would be such a great heat magnet. Like, if it was a guy, and see, that's the thing, if it was a guy like Santino, would it have some effect? I think to a degree, yes, but to overcome a guy like Sheamus and win that title, I think would be monumental for Rusev. And honestly, I think they are going to build up to it. I have this sneaking feeling, but then again, this is coming from the same guy who believes that the Ascension is going to end the Usos tag team title reign, so I don't know how much I spew as quackery and how much is logical, but regardless, I do think that they could be potentially building up to Rusev dethroning Sheamus, and I say that because he's overcome Big E. I've heard rumors that he's going to be doing a feud with the Big Show. I would love to see that pan out, but that's a wait and see kind of thing. If that does pan out, to me, Sheamus is the next logical step with these like big, aggressive, tough guys. So with that said, yeah, I got my mind wide open for that feud. Absolutely, I'd love to see Rusev with the gold and go on a
More
dominant run with it.
specifically, though, I mean, you say with the gold, to me, the gold that really does fit him best would be the United States Championship. I mean, think about that.
I mean, I could picture Lana already cutting the promo saying, "Finally, you Americans have something to be proud of,"
Yeah.
or plastering the Russian flag in the center of the championship, making it the maybe the United Russian Federation Championship or something like that, something along those lines,
Yeah.
or the USSR. I don't know, but that would be then. And you and I have been again talking about that for quite some time, so this isn't new stuff per se. You and I have been really looking to see Rusev step up and take that spot. But as far as this match goes, I've got to give them props because I thought it was a great back and forth. I personally enjoyed this championship match. Two moments in particular would be there was one point Sheamus looked like he was going for white noise, and Del Rio actually rolled through and got the cross arm breaker. I thought that was the coolest transition into the cross arm breaker that I had personally seen. And to be honest, I was also really big on the ending. I mean, Del Rio was really taking it to Sheamus, and then Sheamus out of nowhere nailed a bro kick. To me, it almost looked more like a Yakuza kick. But he took Del Rio's head off, and he got the cover, and he got the win. But yeah, some great offense between these two. The only thing I have to say I didn't like, because it didn't make sense to me, there was one point where Sheamus was on the top rope, and he
Right?
put
No, it was freaking stupid.
yeah, oh yeah. So you know what I'm referring to? Yeah, the 10 beats of the bow run on the top rope. I'm like, why can't Del Rio just throw you off the top rope?
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's been my problem with that move since day one. It makes no sense that somebody would just stand there and take it.
I mean, at least when he does it on the apron, I guess it does have somewhat the appearance that the arms are like trapped or like wrapped up in the ropes. But on the top rope, his arms didn't even look to be positioned weirdly. They just looked like they were kind of there, like
Sheamus couldn't even position his legs so that it looked like he was at least trying to trap his arm so that he couldn't get away.
right, right. Just the whole thing really came off as bad to me, but really that's just one gripe in what was otherwise for me a solid championship match, all things considered. So, do you have anything you want to say about it?
I mean, it was a good match, and nobody's going to take that away from these guys. But to me, the problem is that from the minute the bell rang, you knew Sheamus was winning. Like, from the minute this match was announced, you knew Sheamus was winning. They're not going to put any titles on Del Rio for the rest of his WWE career because chances are he probably doesn't have that long of a WWE career left. And on top of that, it's Sheamus. I mean, the only way he's going to lose to somebody is if they are getting an absolute rocket to the moon push. And Del Rio most certainly is not.
But you know who is? That guy we were just talking about a few minutes prior,
Rusev.
Rusev.
Exactly.
So I'm telling you, dude, I really believe, because if I had to be serious and say which champion was going to lose, their title to who, I would bet the house that Sheamus is going to lose his championship to Rusev. So we'll have to wait and see. I hope that does pan out, because honestly, I completely agree with your assessment of the situation. And given that definition, somebody who's getting a monster push, and it looks like they could believably beat Sheamus as well with how overpowered he is in his booking and everything, and just how he looks. I mean, Rusev fits the mold, and I don't really see anybody else who stacks up. I mean, maybe Roman Reigns, but he's so far beyond the U.S. title, he's not
Right.
even
I
worth the
mean,
contemplation.
Roman Reigns has practically been main eventing for the last year and a half, for God's sakes.
Right, so he's like I said, he's not even worth the contemplation, which again only leaves Rusev in my mind.
Right.
So I hope he gets there sooner rather than later. But yeah, this is a good match. But I agree with all of your gripes, hands down. We knew Sheamus was winning. Del Rio, I think, is far beyond championships at this point because he already came in the WWE somewhat aged. So I think that's why they got all of his championship runs out so quickly. And now I just think it's at the point where he can work the mid card level, put guys over, and then just walk out the door. Legacy in hand, I guess. So.
Yep. All right. So after Sheamus successfully defends his championship, John, I am going to let you take this by the horns because I don't even know what to say. Stardust and Goldust backstage talking about names.
Yeah. To be honest, I watched this promo twice and I still can't wrap around everything that was said here. Stardust posing the old Shakespearean question, what's in a name? I guess because a lot of people have been speculating about the name of this team, Goldust and Stardust. We've taken to calling them GoldStar, and I doubt even when they do get a formal name that we'll switch on that. He's just talking about all that, talking about the different combinations, I guess, the different plays that they can make on their names. And then Goldust comes in, and he's just like, oh, what's going on? And then they start talking, and Stardust pretty much says, Goldust and Stardust come together to create a celestial entity unlike which no one has ever seen. And it's just so out there and so weird, and Goldust is still looking like the normal one, and I love it. I can't follow any of it. I'd be lying if I said I could, but I love it. Cody is just, I think, one of the best, I'll call him character performers I think I've ever seen. And the idea that he's so young while he's doing it, we often say with Bray Wyatt, it just isn't fair. I think you could put that same tagline on Cody Rhodes.
I would find it extremely difficult to disagree with you on that point.
He's just so good, dude. Like, it comes to the point where if I was watching wrestling for the first time, and say I'll rewind a little bit and I'll say maybe I was watching it during the undashing Cody Rhodes period, and I saw him with this mask and just heard him cut a promo and how disturbed he comes off, I would think, well, isn't that wonderful at WWE to give somebody so insane work? Like, it's just, you really believe that he is the characters he's portraying, and then that's not a compliment I hand out lightly, especially, given that I am so much older now, so much wiser to the business. But he just comes off as so authentic, I think is the word. And I'm just really loving this run with him and Goldust.
Absolutely. Up next, we had Bo Dallas versus Diego. We got a quick recap of Bo Dallas's very brief run-in with Daniel Bryan at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which was genuinely hilarious. And yeah, Bo Dallas versus Diego, relatively quick. I'm not going to call it a squash match because Diego did get some offense in here, even if not a lot. But yeah, relatively quick match. Bo picks up the win. He is 12-0, and then he cuts a promo afterwards.
The streak lives, Ashton. The streak lives.
Michael, I almost said Michael because JBL says Michael all the time, so it makes me think of him. JBL flipped his lid when Bo hit the Bo Dog.
He loves Bo Dallas. I think he loves really every NXT gimmick that comes up to the main roster because he is the general manager for NXT. Also important to note that Bo did cut a promo before the match, saying that he was going to win for Daniel Bryan, who he referred to as Little Daniel. And I think a somewhat important development action, we did find out that Bo Dallas has entered himself in the Battleground Intercontinental Championship Battle Royal.
I hope he wins it.
You know what? Not only, I'm conflicted, because I would love Cesaro to win it, but I don't know who's more of a favorite. Cesaro, who has that Battle Royal experience, or Bo. I mean, maybe they'll trick us into thinking Cesaro's the favorite and Bo will eliminate Cesaro
To
last.
me, Cesaro is the favorite strictly from a kayfabe standpoint because, he won the big battle royal, so that means he has an advantage in this one. But I want Bo to win. He's not necessarily the favorite to win, but he is my personal favorite to win.
I'll remember that. I'll be looking forward to asking you, well, to reposing the question in a few weeks for our Battleground preview and predictions video, see if you've shifted in that position. But, no, you're pretty good about these things. I could see you very well remaining staunch in that assertion there. I would love to see him win his.
Two-time and reigning Puitoff World Champion. Thank you very much.
Yes, and current, alongside this gorgeous face, Puitoff Tag Team Champion.
Yeah,
Not bragging, though.
keep riding the coattails, you fool.
Clearly, I mean, I don't mind. Puts bread on my table. So, no, with that said, though, Ashton, I do have to say, I completely agree with you. And you and I have talked about this. I think if he were to win the Intercontinental Championship, one, I'd love to see his victory lap with the title. And two, because I've gotten far more comfortable with shooting my mouth off lately with things that I want and things that are going to happen, I'd want to see him. And I said this before Bo even came up. I want to see him have a honky-tonk man-esque run. Seem like he's always close to losing, but then just comes right out with it, and he holds on to that title for so long. I don't even know if I'd have Bad News Barrett take it off him. It depends on when he comes back. It really does, because we would come back relatively soon. I'd want Bo to go over, because that would, I think,
Suppose Barrett comes back within 3 months, but no more than 4.
See, that's hard to call. I think I'd have Bo go over.
Same.
I would. You know what? Because I think Barrett has held that thing 4 times, and I think if he comes back, I honestly don't think he needs it to get where I believe he could be with this gimmick. And Bo retaining over him, I could just see how condescending he could be to Barrett, just saying, "Oh well, you did your best. Yeah, I know you said you had bad news, but I'm gonna be the bearer of good news. I know you tried your best, and I really appreciate it, but you can't always win. But you just still have to Bo-leave," or something like that, something inspo-bational, or however we phrase it.
Inspo-rational.
There you go. And yeah, everybody's shocked. Oh, he overcame Barrett. You know, what happens now? I'm telling you, have him go on that monster skin of your teeth run. The Intercontinental title will be better for it.
I want him to retain that title at least 3 times using an exposed turnbuckle.
Never forget the exposed turnbuckle. That's how he won the NXT championship.
And that's how he defended it successfully at least 2 or 3 times.
Exactly. No, yeah. Pay homage to NXT, expose that turnbuckle, just keep finding ways to win, then go on your little mini sermons afterwards about Bo leaving.
You know how when The Miz was WWE champion, everyone always said, "Oh, he's just like Ric Flair because he loses all of his matches to make him look like a defeatable champion, but he never loses his championship matches." Yeah, Bo Dallas is going to be able to pull that off, except in a way that actually does Nature Boy good, rather than what The Miz crap did.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That said, now we can focus on the post-match promo. He says, "Hey, little guy. Hey, you. Yeah, you."
Of course, referring to Torito.
Yes. He says, "You may be a bovine," and already I lost it for the record. "But if you want to grow taller, all you have to do is Bo-leave."
And then he turns around and gets gored in the butt. And then he comes back and gives the finger wag, and he tries to teach Torito a lesson in manners. And then Torito does the little butt wiggle towards Bo, and Bo picks him up and slams him.
It made me an even bigger Bo Dallas fan.
I know, right?
And that thought should terrify all of you listening. Yeah, it was great to see him just slam Torito down. I loved it. I reveled in it. You know what? As soon as he announced his name for the Battleground Battle Royal, I thought he was a favorite. And if he wins, he can certainly be an Intercontinental Champion that we can all be proud of.
Would you even say that he can be an Intercontinental Champion that we can all believe in?
You took the words right out of my heart. So good.